All right, so Jacob Castro with Perry Punch, joined today by Pat Downey. He's a D1 All-American as well as a Bellator middleweight. So how you doing, Pat?
Good. How you doing, man? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. Did you smoke a little weed before we start in here?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Gotta get the mind and body right. I'm recovering
Right.
hard.
What you got over there? Like a bong or something like that?
Oh man, what don't I have? The Luca, the Bull, the Woods,
Oh hell yeah.
Dabs. We got the weed. We got the. You know what I mean?
You got everything over there.
However you want it.
Hey, I oh hell yeah, there we go.
That's what you were asking for.
Yeah. I like the bong myself personally, but I got a vaporizer recently.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah, trying to be a little bit more healthy, I guess.
Right.
All right, man. Well, let's get into the interview a little bit. I want to start on your like early life. Where are you from exactly?
Yeah, man. Baltimore, Maryland, Northeast Baltimore, Maryland. Grew up on Belleville Avenue.
Awesome. And I guess what was that like growing up in Maryland? I'm not too familiar, so kind of let me know what the lifestyle is like out there.
Yeah, Baltimore's a little different than what I would say Maryland, city life, hectic, lot going on. Being a street kid, just like you're hustling, you're playing ball, you're riding, you're riding bike, you're doing things you're not supposed. You're just a mischievous little young kid, and that's what kind of got me into wrestling and sports in general. I've always been super involved in sports and but yeah, I mean Maryland's a beautiful state in general. You got the East Coast with like the ocean, Bay Bridge. That's real scenic, Chesapeake Bay, and then you got the mountains and stuff too. It's one of the few states with like all the all the landscapes and stuff. So I mean, I still visit. I mean, I'm down in South Florida now, but all my family's still up there. A lot of friends, you know what I mean? I was born
Yeah,
and raised. So
sounds like a nice place to live. It like you said, you got the beaches. Sounds like you got some nature too, a little bit of everything.
yeah, I love Maryland. Beautiful state. Yeah.
Do you guys have heavy sports out there too? Because I think that's where like Gervonta Davis is from, right?
Yeah. You actually grew up, yep, Umar Boxing Club and a big sports team, football. I mean, probably the best lacrosse in the world. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of ball players, football, basketball, um, and yeah, wrestlers too. I mean, got a lot of good wrestlers coming out of Maryland too.
Okay, and then is that like what was your first sport that you played? Because I know you played quite a bit of sports. Like I think you played like lacrosse and football and all that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, baseball, you name it, man.
Damn.
I always loved basketball too, but it was always during wrestling season, so I
Uh,
never hooped legitimately with the team, but yeah, I mean, big sports fan. Anything involving competition, I was always just naturally gravitated towards it.
did your parents put you into it, or do you have siblings and stuff, or how did you kind of find your way into sports in general?
Yeah, my dad just sought out the best teams and coaches and the best, affiliations, and he was like my manager, if you will, kind
Mm-hmm.
of that this is the path. And obviously, a lot of people's parents probably put them in sports and they don't stick to it, but all the way up, it was just a bond my family and I shared, them my grandparents supporting me and just really giving me a purpose. I just feel like sports kind of it was just natural.
Gotcha. Well, it was like a family affair, like kind of through your sporting endeavors. I think it got all your family together and stuff, and they would all kind of get together and come out and watch you.
Yeah, exactly. Just knowing that they were going to be there kind of always pushed me to like give my best effort and want to kind of entertain and put on a show for them and perform.
Yeah, it
So
probably makes it more fun, huh?
a lot more incentivizing for sure.
And you don't have any siblings, it's just you?
No, I got two younger sisters, one
Okay.
15 younger, Jasmine, and one 15 years younger, Marissa.
Gotcha. Do they play any sports? Is your dad putting them in anything or
Yeah,
no?
I mean, she's a mother now and
Okay.
has a big family. But Marissa, she's in high school and runs track and soccer and basketball, and she's a great student. So yeah, I mean, I'm proud of my sisters. So we got a good family. I
Nice.
uh I always give Jazz shit because she definitely could have been D1 too. She was D1 material, but she
Uh
life she chose another path.
Yeah, it's easy to get distracted. I feel like there's so much going on in life. It sounds like your dad probably kept was a big role in like keeping you on track, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Show me what to do, show me what not to do. So
Yeah.
he he definitely, he was my mate. We crazy journey, first generation wrestler to achieve what I have in the sport. Yeah, I think it's safe to say he's proud.
Yeah, and that's yeah, what you've achieved is actually pretty crazy. So, was that like your first sport you played was wrestling?
No, no, football, baseball, um, yeah, not wrestling. And then I
Okay.
mean, I wrestling young, but it just maybe the seasons or however worked out. You know, I just I think the story goes I was always trying to wrestle everybody in these other sports. So they were like, man,
Mm,
guy into a wrestling gym, and
yeah,
that like a passion of mine.
gotcha. So it was a little bit like natural. They were like, hey, you're itching to do this. We might as well just put you in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Then even in
Um,
practice, everybody would be when it would be time to go, I'd be crying because practice was over. Like 5, 6, 7 years old, I'm crying because we got to leave. I'm like, I don't want to go, So
yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I still do. I love it. And not my favorite. My favorite sport. When I'm not wrestling, even right now, I'm a little banged up. Can't wrestle with my college guys, and you know, it sucks. But I'm still thinking about it. I'm still watching it. You got championship season here in March coming right now around the corner. So you got NCAA, and then the senior circuit picks up with the U.S. Open. So even though I'm not involved with USA Wrestling anymore, and I still, wrestling saved my life. I'll always be in debt to the sport. So it's impossible not for me to keep up with it.
Yeah. Did it become your favorite sport though? Like once you started? Like because that's the one you seem to excel at the most, even though maybe it wasn't the first one you played.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, a lot of people actually committed to play college football first, and then I had a lot of success my senior year, which is ironic because I didn't get the wrestle my senior year due to some troubles off the mat, and my
Hmm.
football cut short, which resulted in me first moving down to Florida with like JD Robbins and the Florida Jets, Jordan Spieler, and winning Fargo and senior nationals. That kind of was a catalyst to get me these big looks in wrestling.
Mm.
General, I wasn't a huge wrestling recruit. I was a couple time undefeated state champ, but I never did anything nationally to kind of like earn that, D1 full ride. And my dad made it very clear that like I had to pay for college my own way, just as
Hmm.
he did. So it was like I got to earn this scholarship, and I did. I earned full rides, and I still found a way to take on a bunch of college debt. But
Yeah.
the point is, I was looking at football because I don't know if you're familiar with the NCAA rules and Title IX and the scholarships. All football scholarships are automatically full rides.
Oh
Very,
wow.
very rare to get them in wrestling because they got to allocate a certain amount of funds throughout all the weight classes. So full rides are not as common in wrestling.
Yeah.
Be basically a blue chip top recruit to get it, and I mean, I was able to earn some full rides with wrestling. I went to Olympic Training Center,
Yeah.
Iowa State, Iowa Central. I went to 4 colleges, but that's the name of the game. It's a business. I was going to go wherever I was eligible, wherever I could get paid, wherever I could continue my education.
Yeah, because it seems like it was all on you, right? Like your family was trying to set you up your whole childhood basically, like athletically to kind of hopefully get you into college, right? With your skills and everything.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's part of turning into a man, leaving home and going away to college and you know succeeding, finding a way to be resourceful,
Yeah.
make your path. And what better way to do that in a sport like wrestling where it's one on one.
Yeah. And then how did you eventually get to like D1? Because like you said, and I want to touch on it too, maybe after, but because you said you had some like legal troubles and like you eventually got a full ride. So did you kind of went to community college and did some wrestling there and leveled up to D1 eventually?
No, after troubles, I cases were dismissed. I went, and once I was exonerated, I earned a bed at the Olympic Training Center, and that was called a
Oh,
great for the Olympic year 2012. I was on the junior world team, and that's when I got recruited to University of Nebraska by Jordan Burroughs. So I'm wrestling with like arguably the goat of
yeah.
American wrestling, and that's like a dream come true. And I had my thumb broken. I was partying in Nebraska, and I broke my thumb. That kind of I couldn't train and wrestle and compete, and I just got really lost focus there. I turned 21, redshirt freshman, ended up being a redshirt freshman year, and that's when I transferred halfway through the season to Iowa Central. So I
Okay,
went
gotcha.
D1 to JUCO, and then I graduated with my associates. We won a team national title. I won a national title, and then I went back to D1. So I went from Nebraska to Iowa Central to Iowa State, and then
Okay.
my year I went to the University of Iowa. After Coach Kent Jackson got fired at Iowa State, I became All American at Iowa State, finished my degree there, and then went to the University of Iowa.
Gotcha. So it was kind of like a little bit, you started off a little bit better and then you had to work your way back up after you broke your thumb.
That's the story of my life. It's been a fucking roller coaster the whole way.
Yeah, I
Highs
was
and lows.
doing some research on it and I was like, okay, like trying to piece it all together, but I figured I would just ask you too.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's the same old shit. Highs and lows of life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that happens, right? Though, like you get an injury sometimes and you're not too prepared with what comes with it, like the inactivity. You just, like you said, you turn 21. It's like shit, you know. I'm sure it wasn't like super conscious decision on your end. It's something maybe you look back on and you're like, fuck, how did I even get to this point? Maybe.
I'm 30 years old now. My mother still gets nervous about me when I'm bored and idle and downtime. It's not an excuse.
Hmm.
I've just been somebody who has always, kind of my identity is based on like, my how athletic and how good my job is to use my body for my work, and you're kind of known by are you competing, are you grappling, are you fighting, are you wrestling, and then
Hmm.
not being able to train for that, I'm like, well, shit, who am I? What do I do? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Get a lot of downtime, and that's just part of you know, controlling your mental health. I guess I would put it as whether whatever your demon or vice is, or I've grown. Like I said, I didn't come from the best neighborhood, and that's not an excuse either. But I've always it's amazing I've accomplished anything worth talking about if you knew where I came from and what I've done to get here. I've always battled with
Yeah.
addictions and trouble, and trying to stay out of the street life, and trying to change my path, and just make my family proud. But it's not easy. It's not easy, and I'm human, and I have my moments of weakness, and I have moments where I'm tough too. So it's really about my frame of mind, and yeah, to your point, when I get injured, I kind of lose that focus and the discipline that comes along with the lifestyle of trying to be the best in the world at something. That's a
Yeah.
dedicated. So when you go from cold turkey to like, now I'm just a normal person. What do I do? I'm like, all right, wake up and have a beer, smoke a blunt.
Yeah.
You never know what I do when I'm not focused. So that's like I said, my mom still to this day she gets nervous when I have
Yeah.
down.
That's just a mother's nature though, right? My mom gets worried about me. I'll be sick and she's calling me like every day trying to check up on me and shit.
Right, but we
Yeah.
love them.
We
We
love them. Got to
we
deal
love.
with them anyway. So how did you, what was like, you said you're kind of balancing a little bit of street life. And I think I read somewhere that you were kind of, you got involved with somewhat of the wrong crowd, whatever that was at some point. So like, where did those distractions, how did they kind of pull you in at the time? And then how were you able to kind of get out of that eventually to kind of work your way back up to college and all that other stuff?
Yeah, a big part of it was getting out of changing my environment.
Mm,
Getting away from those people that are doing the same old shit, where our lifestyles they don't really have anything in common anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, huge thing is my grandfather, my father, they really helped. They believed in me. You know, my pop, rest in peace, loved the racehorses, and family would always kind of joke and be like, "I'm the thoroughbred of the family. I'm his racehorse." So
Yeah.
we weren't about to watch. We're about to just sit down, sit and watch my career and life get taken from me without a fight and a resistance, and that'll also whip you into shape. You get charged as 16, 17 with a couple as an adult with a couple felony cases, and now you're looking at the three strike rule. I'm like, shit, if I get found guilty, I might lose my life. So at that point, you're not even thinking about like wrestling a state title or a college national title or Olympics. You're thinking of like, am I gonna, have my freedom, or is my bunkmate gonna be a Crip or a Blood, or is this
Hmm.
guy double homicide? Is this motherfucker a killer? Or what I mean? You're kind of like your whole like narrative changes. You're like, oh, you're like, why am I like looking for my freedom now? And I just
Right.
had 20 national letters on my head in my mailbox from like Penn State, my first wrestling scholarship that got taken off the table, and Old Dominion for football that got taken off. So I'm watching all these opportunities and leave me, and it's like your life is kind of flashing before your eyes when you're sitting in that situation. So it definitely scare you straight, if you will.
Yeah. So like did you kind of get locked up for a period of time, or you were just like facing charges and battling it in court?
Yeah, I was arrested and detained, and I mean, ended up being, I have one guilty thing on me, and that was a second degree for this guy with the incident that actually took place. It was a fight, and I had to get everything else got dropped completely, but I couldn't go to the Olympic Training Center with this other case pending.
Mm.
So I ended up taking like a plea deal, and that was the end of it. I think I did like a month or a week, something. It wasn't a lot of time, but still, it was enough for the point to get made. Like, hey, if you fight on these streets, we're not going to tolerate it. We don't care if you're defending yourself. The winner of the fight is usually the guilty one. So
Mm. Yeah, that's crazy. Like that, I was gonna ask you that. Like, it doesn't even really make sense. You didn't even seem like that bad of a kid. Even like you got in a couple fights, like, and then you had some other case where charges ended up getting dropped. So like, why the hell are they like? Were they kind of after you? Did you feel like that at all, or is it just zero tolerance in Maryland?
100%. No, they told me because I was a high profile name and that
Oh,
making an example out of me. All these people that were used to writing articles about me being successful in sports are now writing these crazy articles with no due process, just slandering my name, not
yeah,
even articles after the truth comes out or the case is completely thrown out and dismissed, and or after facts come out, they don't even go back and shed light onto the real situation. And it's kind of like clickbait, and I kind of felt like I was getting kind of like it was like a witch hunt almost. I mean, I really felt like they were just trying to make an example out of me, and I think because I was a well-known athlete, that it kind of like got over amplified. Because at
mhm,
the end of the day, I was younger. I was outnumbered by these people. I was younger than these people. I didn't start it. I might have finished it. I didn't have any weapons. I wasn't like, you know, it was just common self-defense, really.
yeah. Honestly,
I mean, I'll stand on that. I said the same shit in court. I mean, I would never, unprovoked, give something to somebody that didn't have it coming for no reason. It's just not
hmm,
how I was raised. And, anybody that knows me knows I'm probably one of the most easygoing, laughable, funny, non-confrontational people you'll meet.
yeah. And like I don't know, in Texas and shit, I'm pretty sure bar fights are like a normal way of life, right? Like, it's like a way to squash your beef real quick, but no one's going
Yeah.
to freaking jail. Maybe you spend the night over, like, overnight, but they're not going to be putting charges and all this other shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
Kind of how it went.
yeah, it's Maryland for you.
Yeah, I hear you. I guess that's part of it is like it's Maryland. I'm from California, so I guess it's a little bit, and I'm from a nicer part of California, so I guess it's a little bit more relaxed. But there's also a lot of like guns and stuff like that out here, so I think maybe they prioritize that. I don't know, but sounded a little
Yeah.
off, so I wanted to ask you. But to go into like some positive things in your life, so when you were in high school, you set a record as like were you a quarterback in football, or what position did you play?
Yeah. 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 Quarterback and safety. Yeah.
And so you set a record for like I think you did like 300 passing yards, like 100 rushing yards.
Yeah, it was 420 total, some single game, like all like it was total yards for rushing, and yeah, I had over 100 rushing and over 300 passing. I remember it was a cool little stat.
Damn. Were you always a quarterback, or you said you played safety too? But what was your main position?
Yeah, I was quarterback and safety. I mean, I was always quarterback. That was one of my gripes with the Old Dominion coach. They wanted to switch me to safety without even giving me a fair shot at playing quarterback. And that was kind of when back in my mind, I was like, oh, I already don't like this football shit at the next level because of the politic. And, you know,
Mm. Hmm.
like you just go when you win your spot. And I was just like, I can do that. But I'm not going to sit here and be told that, I can't play the position that I want to. That just didn't make any sense to me. Or at least
Yeah.
be given the chance to, like, earn that role, at least, allow me the opportunity to win or lose the role as quarterback. But yeah, I love ball, man. I always, it's probably still my favorite sport.
Yeah, I get that though with the politics. I used to play baseball, and I actually got more into wrestling because of the politics in baseball. Like I was like trying to fight my way on the team, and they're like giving me a second tryout and shit. And then meanwhile on wrestling, they're like down to have me be varsity because there's somebody who was injured at the time. So I was like,
Right.
oh, I mean, dude, these people appreciate me over here. And you kind of do get a battle for your spot if you're the next man up or the first guy. That's nobody's
Right.
gonna take that from you. So
Cut and dry. It's black and white.
yeah. So real quick though, so basically like the colleges didn't even notice you, but the US team noticed you out of high school?
Well, yep, out of high school. Well, I was just now getting onto the national scene because of those charges. I wasn't able to finish school. I was like put in this weird homeschooling thing. They put me out of classes. I had to do remote online learning, and I wasn't able to finish my football season or my wrestling season. Now, it just so happened that the case was dropped right after senior nationals, and because I was already a state champ, I was allowed to wrestle in senior nationals. So I left to
Mm,
Florida halfway in the middle of the school year when the shit happened to go train with Oviedo and try to get eligible to wrestle in Florida. They denied my eligibility. They said I was an athletic transfer for athletic purposes, and they said I wasn't allowed to compete. But that whole time I was preparing as if I was going to compete. So I was ready. So when my time came to wrestle in senior nationals, I won it. And
mm,
then after I win it, my case was completely dismissed. So at this time I had never wrestled freestyle, like international wrestling.
yeah.
Won the most prestigious folk style tournament, which got me on the map, and I had some good offers, but nothing like super big. And then I had this opportunity from the head coach of the Team USA at the time. It was Bobby Douglas and Zeke Jones and Brandon Slay and Bill Zadek. They were all part of Bill Zadek's now the national team head coach of Team USA. So they're at the Olympic Training Center. And because I'd never wrestled freestyle, they're like, hey, you go to this freestyle tournament, which is the most prestigious high school freestyle tournament called Fargo. You have
Hmm.
senior folk style and Fargo, which is freestyle. You go to that and place, and you'll earn a bed in the developmental program, which is like for guys developing in cadets, juniors to try to get up to in the senior level program. And I
Gotcha.
did. Fargo won it, and I earned my bed, at the Olympic Training Center where I lived for almost 2 years.
And how much did that like you earning your spot have to do with like the weight on your shoulders probably of like battling a case number one, but also knowing that like look, no one's gonna pay for my shit, like I gotta either win this and earn a bed or like because I feel like that's a big part of it, right? Like so how much of that played a factor in like you earning your bed?
Huge incentivizing and just proving people wrong and trumping everything. What
Yeah.
trump a football or a college scholarship? The fucking Olympics.
Right.
It was like it was the biggest, and that's who I am. When you have a bunch of haters, a bunch of people trying to take your dream away from you, and it doesn't matter who's against you. If God's with you, you will you'll succeed. So I just think that people can't block what's meant for you, and
Hmm.
there were certain things in life that were just meant for me. So it was just a matter of being focused enough to attain them.
Yeah, and just kind of keep on showing up and all that. But what was it like kind of going to the US team as well, based off from where you were from? Was there a lot of perks when you earned that bed and that spot in the training center, like a lot of food and supplements maybe you weren't used to or anything?
Oh my God, it was
Yeah.
top everything, the facilities, the strength and conditioning, the regiment, the training partners, the nutritionist, the therapist, the physiology, the food hall, the calf, all fresh cooked chef meals. I mean, did the Team USA out in the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs have come some of the best years of my life. And then, not to mention, going there for camp year after year. I mean, that's where everybody meets from. Doesn't matter what college you're in. If you're going to represent Team USA, you're going to be a national team camp out at the Olympic Training Center. So,
Shoot, 1 second, 1 second. Just my
it was,
camera went dark. There we go. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
yeah, but just to your point, it was the best of the best.
Yeah. And what was like, do you take a lot of that into like your MMA and maybe based off some of the training you've seen in MMA, how does it compare? Like, do you think that you have a advantage somewhere down the line with these other
Um,
opponents?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if it's about as much as what you've done as opposed to what you're currently doing. And
Okay.
at the same time, I think like I'll always have a wrestling advantage over everybody just because of the level I'm at. I'll
Hmm.
probably wrestling than most people will ever learn. And that definitely plays into it. But at the same time, you got to humble yourself and know you're coming into a new sport and there's a whole new set of skills to be acquired. So, I mean, I've just to earn that bed, I had to beat people that were already there. You know,
Hmm.
they had sent their guys from the Olympic Training Center in that tournament at Fargo, and I went and beat all their guys from Baltimore, from Florida. You know what I mean? Without
Yeah.
those, so it's like a double-edged sword. It's like I believe I can do anything on my own, and I don't need all that fancy stuff and all that 1% extra boosters. But at the same
Uh,
time, if you do get all them 1% extra boosters, it's probably going to add to your game. So
right.
you know, there's a fine line where it's like, do I depend on all this fancy shit to get me wins, or am I just raw winner? You know what I mean?
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. And like, I think Tyson Fury said something where he's like, I'll drink a pint of beer before I fight. Like, it's not about that. It's more about like your mental and,
That
how you believe in yourself and all that. So almost
that
50-50. What do you think?
I do. I think it's a great. I mean, that's one of the topics that interests me right now as I'm getting my master's in ethical leadership and studies. It's one of the things about being a leader, like we're just talking about it in the module. It's an interesting topic. Um, because how much of it is just self belief and mind, and how much of it is maybe other things like hard work and discipline and determined. How
Yeah.
much just raw talent and God given abilities. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one.
What was your professor saying? Or because that interests me too. You're saying that is leadership natural or is it something that can be taught, in other words?
Yeah, it's one of the topics, and then it's also like branched off of that. We were talking about, and I used the analogy of like toughness. You
Hmm.
can make somebody a tougher person.
Right.
You put them through these stressful, tough, hard things day after day after day. Over time, your body calcifies. You're no longer the same person you were when you started this journey. You've
Yeah.
changed. But does that necessarily mean you're going to be as tough as somebody from, the Caucasus Mountains who's picking up
Yeah.
goats every day? Or like, somebody from like the jungle in the favelas down in Brazil and the Amazon, or somebody over in Africa. Like, you never know, somebody from East Baltimore, you never know like who these people are and what they've had to go through their entire lives. So were they born tough, or did
Hmm.
they make them tough? And that was how I spun it, and it was a good discussion for our group. But at the same point, I don't know if there's like a right answer or a way to like say like this is that if it's like
Hmm.
that 1 + 1 is 2. I don't think it's that black and white. I think there's a little gray area that certain things can apply to both people. Like this guy, he was just born tough. Or this guy, he made himself tough over years of developing, doing tough, hard shit.
Right.
So I think things are true there.
Like a David Goggins, right? Or like then you got like a Francis Ngannou. I think that's what you're saying. Those are the two extremes right there.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
perfectly well put. Goggins kind of like made himself hard, right? He was a fat,
Right.
like whatever I mean, these are in his words, but
Yeah.
he was basically a piece of shit if you'd ask him. And then he
Exactly.
calcified. And then a guy like Nagano coming out of like the fucking, I don't even know, Chicago,
Yeah, yeah, the Congo somewhere.
swimming across the ocean, a refugee in France. I mean, you read that guy's story, you're like, what the fuck has he been through?
Yeah. So it's
And
like he got his strength from that too, probably.
hell yeah, you're not
Yeah.
gonna put the fucker through anything he hasn't already seen. There's nothing that you can do to somebody like that that's overcome, and that's something that I carry with me. At
Yeah.
such a young age, I was faced with such extremes that when I'm going through these little adversities or what the world might or the internet's all these little things that they seem like issues. It's like, listen, I've already done overcame so much. Like
Yeah.
here, I'm a winner. I won. You know what I mean? So there's nothing that can really happen to me that is going to get phase me that much.
No, I hear you. And I think it's probably better off, like to go through some shit when you're younger. And, everyone needs to be calloused. I know some people like have easier lives, but I think it's honestly probably better to be calloused. I had probably an easier life when I was younger, but as I got older, I kind of had the same thing where my parents are kind of like, look, you gotta, I gave you these resources and now it's time for you to make something of yourself.
Yeah,
And that was like a wake up moment for me. But I know a lot of people who haven't even had that moment yet, and they're kind of still stuck. They haven't really been forced to evolve, I guess.
they're 40 years old in their mother's basement.
Yeah, I know. So I think it's a lot more common, but I think it's good to like have that leadership and probably had your dad probably put you through some stuff. And personally, I think wrestling is a big factor in all that, just because it's so real.
Yeah, 100%. You can't fake it. I mean, you're out there in a fucking little leotard, whatever singlet. You're in a little onesie piece of fabric. How everybody
Hmm.
watch the work that you've done, with how you've prepared. Any one-on-one combat sport, it's the purest form of art, and yeah, it's why I do it. I love it.
Yeah. So about your MMA career and all that, you started off with a win, and then your last one was a loss, unfortunately. But I think Bellator's got high hopes for you. You're one of like the biggest prospects, I think, in the game right now, coming out of college, right? Or not that you're coming out of college, but from
Now
the
they cut
college scene.
that loss.
Say that again. Sorry.
They cut me after the loss. I thought
What
that's
the
why you
fuck?
reached out on the interview. Yeah, you didn't see the MMA junkie made it public. I was like, oh, that's why this guy's reaching out.
No, I did not fucking know that.
Oh, really?
No, I did not. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I didn't mean to bring it up like that.
A loss. Well, my manager told me a few days after the loss that would be happening. But yeah, it just got made public when yeah, look it up
Fuck,
on your
man.
like MMA.
All right.
I thought that's why you were interviewing me, dude.
No, I mean, I wasn't even just about like the in the moment. I thought like your whole career is sick. So I've always wanted to speak with you, but let me look it up real quick. When did they
Nah,
post this shit?
it's not I think Nolan King wrote it. It's not any information though. It just says that they cut me. It doesn't give reasons why or
I
uh,
see.
but
21
yeah,
hours ago.
yeah, it just got posted. So I was actually
Fuck.
supposed to fight in the beginning of the year, and I had a skin thing happen. I don't know if you've been following or if
Yeah,
you've.
I know.
My grandfather passed, and that the stressors. I just couldn't fight. I had to call out on my fight. I had an opponent out on the West Coast, so then I didn't get to fight until August, which was a
Okay.
lot that I was hoping for. But by that time, when I fought, I basically, didn't take any damage, what it appeared to be seen. Like by that, I mean, I didn't tell anybody I was damaged. So in that
Right.
they, if you rewatch the fight, you'll see where I body locked the dude, okay, against the cage. And I do this like twisting, contorting motion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I decided to jump in the full mount and secure the arm triangle because I had to finish him. I popped my rib out and I've just been healing with that, getting PRP injections and stem cells and different type of treatments to try to heal. But when I did that, I took a fight right after for August. Well, and that I made the debut and I was scheduled to fight a few months later, which was my last performance, which I couldn't properly train like from my injury with the rib in my debut,
Mm-hmm.
but I still took the fight, even though I wasn't able to properly prepare and I was coming into the fight compromised. I still
Why did you
believe,
take the fight? Did you feel like you owed them something from the first one when you had pulled out?
well, back out of again. I intentionally didn't take damage in my first fight, so I could fight again, quickly turn around.
Okay.
Um, I needed the money. That's how I survived.
Right.
And I thought I could win. I mean, I've wrestled injured my whole life. Like, I'm not gonna turn down. Like, the fact that I pulled out of that first fight lets you know how fucked up I actually was. I had a
Mm-hmm.
terrible condition that was undiagnosed for months. I was getting worse as the days went by. I couldn't fight, but a little rib. At the time I didn't know it was broken. I didn't get an MRI or X-ray. And I've had floating rib issues before. I've wrestled at a world class level, like we just talked about, for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what's competing a little banged up, but I didn't realize how unprepared I was because after my opponent was able to stay alive and defend my choke and stuff, I mean, I got a leg kick and then I tore my MCL. Like, I think on the cage trying to finish the Darce, I had a
Mm-hmm.
choke, like, kind of crocodile barrel rolling out of, and I still thought I was going to win. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't go there ready to lose. Um, but then after I did lose, and in the manner of which I lost, Bellator said, I guess that you just showed up for a payday type thing. Like, you just showed
Uh,
up, collect the check. They didn't feel that I was properly prepared, which I can't really say that they're wrong. I just showed up. Even though I believe I was going to win. That's the nature of the beast. I mean, you know, I'm too dumb or cocky or whatever. Believe too much in myself to tell me not to show up or to tell me that I just don't believe I'm going to lose. So
yeah.
I show up and I lose, and they're like, "Hey, what the fuck? Why'd you come
Oh,
here?" You know?
dude, that's like rough, man. I don't even, I mean, I can't say much, but I can't, I would have thought that they would have had a little bit more patience, but I don't know. I guess maybe
Yeah.
they're,
After you fight, you got to. That's when you're able to use the insurance. So then I got my meniscus scoped, my MCL is healing. I'm getting PRP injections in my rib and knee, and
mm-hmm.
I'm like, let me get healthy and in shape again, and we can fight again with that dude. Yeah, I'll run it back, or
Yeah.
I'll whomever y'all want. Like, I still believe in myself and know my level, but again, this isn't wrestling. It's a new sport where you know cardio is a huge part of it. You have to be in shape, and you have to be well conditioned, and health is a huge part of it. You have to be healthy and in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Going a little banged up, or you gotta train through it, and you're having a good camp. That's another thing. But if you're in a position I was, where I'm not really training and living the right lifestyle in preparation for a fight, and your boss says you weren't properly prepared, what am I going to say? I can't lie.
Yeah.
To I don't have a teammate to blame. It's just me and another man out there. You see, you know, got tired, and I look compromised. You know what I mean? So they don't,
Mm-hmm.
from their perspective, I'm not going to badmouth Bellator for dropping me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, I guess
I don't
like,
do.
sorry, I don't want to cut you off. What'd you say?
No, I was just saying that you'll never hear me badmouth them. I had a great time. I was able to do more for my life with 2 fights with them than I was with almost 10 years of wrestling with USA. So, um, you know, maybe we'll be back down the road. Who knows what the future holds? But for now, I just got to focus on getting healthy and in shape, and putting together a few wins.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually gonna say is I think based off some of the other stuff in Bellator's history, like with Brennan Ward, and I've even heard Scott Coker, like just sounds like he's still kind of patient with Dylan Dennis, and if he wants to fight, he can fight. So maybe once you just show that you're healthy, get a couple wins under your belt, maybe it's not out of the question to join Bellator again. Or hey, I
Yeah,
mean UFC's another promotion as well.
exactly right. When one door closes, what do they say? 10 openers, one other door opens. Some
Hmm.
one of them is. Uh, I'm a free agent again, and I'm not gonna have any problem. I've had a lot of. I mean, since MMA Junkie broke that just yesterday, 20 some hours ago, I probably had 4 or 5 promotions reach out to me. So
Oh hell
I'm not
yeah.
not worried about that. I haven't even really entertained any of the promotions reaching out because I'm so focused on getting healthy and in shape. I'll never do that again where I go in and collect a check because Well, hopefully I'm never in a position where I have to do that again, because maybe I will do that again if I
I,
need
I
to.
don't get why they held that against you so heavily. Because I feel like that is a part of the game. In some cases, some fighters do have to do that. I mean, it makes sense if it's your source of income. I feel like it's something you weigh. Like I might take an L here, but I need the money and my life is important too. So I
Yeah,
don't
like
I don't know, but
I moved me and my dog out of the hood. I got a new vehicle. I got a nice, I got like a nice quality of life out of it. And I was able to, you only can use the insurance. Here's the fucking catch 22, like the little caveat.
mhm.
Don't fight injured. Well, if I'm injured out of the fight, y'all aren't going to pay for it. I'm not insured. So I
Yeah,
have to the fight,
that's
even if
another
I'm
thing.
for a fight, to use my fucking insurance.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
that
whole
makes
catch
sense.
too. Y'all ain't gonna get paid for it. I wouldn't get the stem cells and the PRP and the MCL and the meniscus scoped and the arthroscopic. I wouldn't have been covered. That's coming out of my own dime.
Mhm.
And then I gotta get that done and then wait another few months. There's a big roster. It's a big roster. Everybody's got to fight. So if
Yeah,
I get off, I'm not gonna get put back on for God knows when.
that makes sense too because if you want your injuries healed, then you have to go through a fight and then disclose it after the fight.
Right, to get it
Yeah.
covered. To get the insurance to cover it. So I mean, it's fucked up, the health insurance thing, and like that's why a guy like Nagana is you know
Fighting for it.
such a cool guy. Just if all the champs kind of unionized and he was the ringleader and they all just followed suit, you'd see you'd probably see like healthcare for all fighters in probably a month.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I think there should be something like, and this is just a random thought, but I feel like there should be something where, especially when you're starting out your career, I feel like it's got to be a necessity. You got to have that. And then maybe as you become like a more prominent person in the game, there's something else that can be worked out where you kind of cover your own insurance, but maybe you're a part of the promotion on your fights or something where you're making extra cash.
That's how it
But
was with USA.
oh, it is like that for USA. Like they
Yeah,
take care of your health insurance.
yeah, oh yeah. That was
And
one
then
of
what
the best.
about like David Taylor? Not him though, because he makes a lot of money.
No, David's covered. It's not based on your money. It's based on your national team, based on your
Mm,
rank. Qualify for it. Um, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he could have his own health insurance too. But with the elite athlete healthcare insurance, he probably just adds on his family to his plan because it's the best insurance out there.
I
But
see.
at top three at the weight, which is called a national team member, is going to qualify for that elite athlete. It's like EA. It's some acronym like Elite Athlete Healthcare Insurance, EAHI or something. But it's the best shit. Like I mean, that was better than the little stipend they give you. I mean, you know, a lot of people know is like our American government doesn't fund our Olympians and world team members, so that all comes from private funding called the Living the Dream Fund.
Mm,
Um, like Novacrats and these big time, money dudes, all rich guys, the hedge funds managers and shit that they all kind of allocate money for the athletes. So it's like it's privately funded, is what I'm getting at.
yeah. Do you like that in wrestling, or do you wish that it was more government regulated, or do you not have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, shit. I just want to see the athletes get paid. Who cares where it's coming from? I do think it's
Right.
messed up, like how you go win something for Russian in Russia. You go win a world title in Russia for wrestling. You're like you're put in a position of power. Like you're set for life. Like what I mean, like you're prominent. Like you gotta your government knows you. You're taken care of. It's like you go win in wrestling there. You're like a fucking LeBron James here. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
different level of it's a different level of respect and appreciation. That's for sure.
I feel like over here you got to almost like prove yourself in the UFC still. It's kind of like I don't know, but
Yeah, right. That's the
yeah.
next. That's I mean, and at the end of the day, that's where the biggest fish are. So
I guess that's what Bo Nichols trying to do because Jordan Burroughs does get the credit, but I will admit they only get celebrated for like a day.
yeah. So I mean, Bo's a perfect guy that we wrestled a couple times and he got me at the U.S. Open, and I think I got fucked at the Olympic trials. That's neither here nor there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I you know, I was kind of on the USA Wrestling shit list, getting canceled as the world team member. And I mean, it's hard to stick around in something where you're not really wanted, you know? So
Yeah, because
with
they're
that,
a little bit more buttoned up over there, I would say, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah. But I
yeah.
mean, that doesn't take away from Bo's talent and what I think he's capable of doing in that middleweight division. Now there's some guys. See what type of road he has to take. I mean, you put a guy like Bo Nickel up against a guy like Phil Halls. I don't think that's a good fight for Bo Nickel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Phil's a great wrestler as well.
Phil's Iowa Central National. Yeah, I mean Phil's a beast, and I mean you can't take away from Bo. Like he's entitled to think the way he does with his accolades and his level. But at the same time, I know that there's guys out there that got something for him. You know,
Hmm.
because I too was once thinking like that, and I'm like, oh, this is a new sport in a world class level. So there's some
Hmm.
guys there that we'll see what type of path they give him. If they give him, how they kind of fast track Pereira to make the Adesanya thing happen, they kind of
Right.
avoided him having any like opposition that could, kind of
I
like
got you.
they're going to give him a guy that can, they're probably going to give Bo a heavy striker.
They gave him shoot, forgetting his name.
Up,
He's a striker. He's off Contender Series. He's a pretty big dude, honestly. But I think it's one of those where he looks a lot more scary, but he doesn't have that wrestling. So I think it might be a little bit easier for Bo, a little bit easier matchup, I guess.
like big dude, like they're both going to be 185, 186 pounds. You know what I
They
mean?
are. I think this guy's like taller, but yeah. Because Bo
Oh,
doesn't look much like a
right.
185er. Kind of like I always get surprised by that.
Really?
Maybe because I only see him on camera and stuff, but he almost seems like he'd be like 170. Is he
No,
tall?
no, he's deceiving. Yeah, he's wiry. He fills out the
Okay,
weight. Got broad shoulders. Like he carries. He's a middleweight.
gotcha. So yeah, I mean, I guess if they give him that matchup against like strikers, give him like 3 or 4, and then see where that goes. But it almost sounds like he's taking the slow route too. So I guess we'll kind of see. But are you guys cool and all that stuff, or is that like a fight you're looking to maybe even have down the road?
We're not like friends where we're talking on social media and following each other and liking all of each other's posts. But I mean, dude's a cool guy. Anytime you know, you gotta understand the level of mutual respect here. I mean,
Right.
we were out having beers together after the Olympic trials. You know what I mean? Shooting pool and shit. I mean, we might not even have that much in common outside of the fact that we both like combat and wrestling and fighting. But at the end of the day, I still, shake his hand and it's respect. He's made me better. Anytime you're in this echelon of athletes and tier of athletes, like especially in America with freestyle wrestling, we're talking about the best in the world there. Now David Taylor has the spot, Nickel, Valencia, me, you had Nate Jackson. I mean, Miles Martin. That's just it. One weight class at the Olympic trials.
Mm-hmm. And those
None of
guys
them,
are all crazy too.
none of them guys on any given day can go win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to get people to understand is like to be in that mix, to be an Olympic trials qualifier or a 6, 7 time world team trials qualifier or a national Team USA constituent, like a member. It's like it's not a cult or a fraternity, but that's the highest level there is. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that that level, how do you not respect that? If you fucking don't, you're disrespecting the very thing you're trying to accomplish. You, you just a certified hater.
They must not know though. That's my take on it. I'm always like, oh, they just must not know because if you've ever been in like a training room, like a wrestling training room, then like certain things like it's wrestling's kind of like boxing, like what's almost gonna happen. But I think when people are just MMA fans, maybe they get it twisted and think wrestling's the same way, like, oh, anything can happen, which it to some degree can, but those dominant guys are always gonna dominate.
And aren't able to differentiate between the levels of wrestling. It's all just,
Yeah.
oh, he's a wrestler. He's a wrestler. Well, no, you can't say Deron Wynn and Bo Nickel are both just wrestlers.
Yeah, no shot.
Ron Wynn is like a tough guy. Again, somebody that I know. I'm not going to talk shit about him, but you can't compare him to Bo Nickel
Uh-huh.
or you know what I mean, or like fucking Henry Cejudo.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's levels. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So wait, do you think like you're saying Henry Cejudo is one of the top of the top, or what are you
Yeah,
thinking there? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like one of the best of the best.
One of the
And
best.
he's not even the guy like that has that folk style pedigree. So Henry's not trying to get you down and like grapple you and hold you. He's trying to slam you, ground and pound. Like Nichols actually going to get on top of you, hold you down, go for kills. You
Hmm.
know, mission grappling. It's different types of wrestling.
What do you
As
think is like the best, folk style or freestyle in MMA?
folk style
Folk style, because it's that control, right?
grind and the actual concept. You have riding time. So what that means is you're holding somebody down for a point, and then the other person, your adversary, is trying to get out. So now you're actually which you never experience in freestyle. There's no escapes. There's no wrestling bottom. It's just parterre, defending gut wrenches and leg laces. Uh, Folk style wrestling is also that grind of 7 minutes, and it's a high pace, and it's just trying to break somebody with pressure. Um, but yeah, the whole grappling, the holding, and the control aspect of folk style. 3 seconds for a pin, 2 seconds for a pin, hold them there for back points, riding time, mat returns. That whole
Hmm.
concept. If you really look at it, you're just beating the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Body. You know what I mean? And that transitions into fighting very well. I think personally, folk style background's the best.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see how that plays out because that's what, dude, I'm excited. Like, I don't even necessarily want you and Bo to fight because you guys are one of the two of the top people who are wrestling, like, who are representing American wrestling and in MMA. So I'd like to
I'm
see you guys both kind of like take it off, take it to the top.
sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
yeah,
I
you're
would love,
good.
I would love that fight one day.
Oh, you would love it.
Yeah, yeah,
But almost once you guys, become titans in the sport of your own, like don't match you guys up too soon. Like I feel like you guys got to represent for the US in a sense and
yeah.
then build that up. It's a big fight down the road.
Get there. With all due respect, I'm not even on that level yet. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm where I'm at right now, and
You
he's
got to
where he's
work
at.
your way. Yeah.
I have to earn that opportunity again, just like you know, took me years to earn the opportunity to get on the world team.
Hmm.
So I'm here. I'm going again on a whole new road. And this little Bellator, uh, me losing my job with them is definitely a temporary. It's a derailment. That's adversity, right? Like
Yeah.
that's part of the plan. That's not the script. That wasn't part of part of the script. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So what's
But
the plan now then?
my plan now, bro.
Yeah.
I'm in school, finishing this education, finishing my master's degree. Well, I have some downtime. I just got out of my knee brace. Like I said, I had my meniscus scoped out, so I don't have any meniscus left in that one, and they just removed the tear to kind of expedite the healing. MCL is a grade 2 tear, didn't need surgery. Thankful for that,
Okay.
but my ribs are still fractured and fucked up. So I'm just getting back, man. I'm rehabbing every day. I'm physical therapy. I'm biking. I'm swimming. I'm finally running on the beach again. I walk my dog. I fucking do my burpees and swings and baseball, but I can't train. I haven't grappled. Longest I've been away from grappling, and can't really fight and strike right now. I haven't been sparring, so just doing things to keep me busy, reading books, fucking playing the games, Madden and FIFA, hanging out with friends. Might get me a girlfriend or something to keep me out of trouble. I'm just trying to get my life right, get all my ducks in a row outside of the sport. So when I do come back to wrestling and training, I'm already in good shape, proper baseline shape, and in a good health. Like I haven't. It's been a while, between fighting this past year and then just wrestling for years. It's been a while since I've been healthy and given my body the time to heal.
Hmm. So
And
just kind of like get right in the mind and in the body right now.
blame too, because I'm just go go go, and I'm fucking hard on my body. I don't
Hmm.
got to be my own friend sometimes, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. Is just love myself and let myself get the healing and nurturing it deserves, because I'm not done. I got a long road ahead, and you know, it's a little hiccup in the journey, but the path goes on.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said in the beginning of the interview, this is right on par with like your career as a whole and like your life. Like you know how to battle adversity. you've used it to kind of propel you to like great heights in the past. So I think, yeah, man, just keep focusing and all that. And I think hopefully, you'll get back with Bellator or land in like, I don't know, one UFC, one of these big promotions. I think
right?
it's exciting to have you in one too.
Dude, if I get a few regional wins and
Yeah.
just, you know, rack up some wins real quick, I would love a chance in one of them tournaments and PFLs. Or like, really, I
Hey,
do. I
yeah.
want to get to I want to fight the best, but I want to be ready. You know what I mean? I just want to be in shape and healthy. And then if I go out there and I get beat up and I lose, at least I can look in the mirror with no excuses and I can be like, hey, you gave it your best shot. That's like what happened in wrestling. I
Hmm.
went to the tips, I lost. That's still, top 5 in the world. I can live with that.
Shoot, 1 second. My camera always goes off after like fucking 30 minutes. I gotta get that shit fixed. All right, man. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's the plan for you then. And then one last thing though, just if you have some time and you're looking for like a motivating story, I don't know if you heard of Brennan Ward's story, but it was a little bit similar, not the same really, but he was removed from the UFC for a little bit, and then he took some time to get back. He didn't rush back. He knew that like there are some things in his life maybe he has to fix, and when he was right, he came back to Bellator, and now he seems to be on a good streak. He's putting off those good vibes, because everything's good in his life. So I think it's like a full spectrum thing. Not only like once you're ready, like you'll be fighting better, but you'd be able to radiate some more of that positive energy that you kind of naturally have too.
Yeah, man, I would love to get back. It's hard to radiate that when you're not feeling positive, right? And
Yeah.
that's a tough thing being a raw, real person. It's really hard to fake that type of shit. But I agree with you, man. I'm gonna look into this story more too. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me too.
Yeah, no worries. It's on MMA Junkies YouTube. And then one other thing, just because this is a little off topic, but I notice you talk about it a lot, and I like it a lot about you too, which is like you kind of like to go against the norm, and I guess simply put, you really are like genuinely yourself. But that's not an easy thing. So I guess like how are you yourself? Like, is there any things that you've picked up on throughout like your life where you're like, damn, like this is why I'm kind of like happy go lucky, maybe like naturally myself, and I'm not going to like fit into someone else's box. Like, I guess just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, man. Good question. Like,
Yeah.
I always said my spirit animal is the eagle, and
Okay.
the eagles fly around the jungle, hanging out with lions, tigers, bears, gorillas, elephants. You know what I mean? I'm not in a wolf pack. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an eagle. I'm a free spirited ass motherfucker. I got a Kuna Matata tattooed on my titties.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I'm not here to, like, fit in, but I'm not necessarily here trying to stand out either. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that I'm like a trendsetter, like I'll say shit or like, it's just for like just whatever comes to my head, and maybe that gets me canceled. And I've definitely paid the price for it more than once, since I was a fucking little jit, since I was a kid, man. I've been that boy's too talkative. Put that boy on medicine. Get that.
Yeah.
Put that boy in. Put him in juvenile hall. Put him in a group. Put him out. He doesn't fit here.
Yeah.
I went to 4 high schools, 4 colleges. I've been to all these schools and changed places. I've been to 50 states, 50 countries. You know what I mean? And probably I don't know if I'll ever find a spot I do fit in at, but I sure as hell like this saying is I'd rather be hated for who I am than for you to love me for who I ain't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll take a real enemy over a fake friend. I don't want to, don't love me for, love me for me. If you're gonna love me, just love me for who I am. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if you hate me too, that's all right too. But just let me know you hate me. Don't be bringing that fake love. I
Yeah, I
hate that.
think, yeah, and either way, even if you are like, I don't know if the word hated is the best thing, but like, Andrew Tate, right? A lot of people don't like him, but when you're yourself, a lot of people still like you. He's got his fair share of enemies, but he's also got his like massive supporters too. So I think
Yeah.
either way, it's kind of a win-win. Just be yourself. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I know that was probably part of your struggles with wrestling too, and why you kind of like ended up, not fitting in, like not fitting in, but like you said, you felt like an outcast in the USA wrestling. And I feel
No,
like fighting, MMA is like you can really be yourself in this sport for sure.
yeah, there's a lot of characters. I do like
There's a lot
that.
of characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, talking with you, bro. Have a good day. Thanks for fucking
Yeah,
taking
bro.
time.